I'm Alex Rodriguez.
And I'm Jason Kelly.
From Bloomberg, this is The Deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
This show will explore deal-making across sports, media, and entertainment.
That is a harsh lesson in business.
Sports is not as simple as bringing a bunch of big names together.
I didn't want to do another stomp you out speech.
It opened up so many more doors.
The show is called The Deal.
Listen to The Deal.
Listen to The Deal on Spotify.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or more importantly, namaste. This is Slogging It. And I've just hiccuped again. This is Johnno, that's Eugene, and that's Robbo. And I'm in India, which is an experience. A wonderful experience, might I add, but no doubt we'll come on to that and why I'm here, etc. But yeah, lots to talk about. Crikey, I really have got the hiccups. We've got Stupid Simon's Stupid Game. We're going to talk about the County Championship, the weather, and no doubt all manner of other things. So while I sip some water, I'm going to pass over to Eugene to set us off.
Let's start with the weather, shall we? It has been raining cats and dogs over here in England. I know you're in India at the moment. So yeah, namaste. It's probably wetter than an otter's pocket, I think is the expression. I was going to go with something else, but let's go with that one. And I'm interested to know from you lads, have we seen a wetter February and March? Because I've already heard of games being called off that was scheduled to take place on the 13th of April because wickets are not going to be ready. Groundsmen are struggling to get the outfield dry, getting wickets prepared. Have you ever come across a season that's going to be as underprepared as this?
I mean, I can't believe that when I was playing at a fairly reasonable level of cricket, I had my first pre-season game on the 2nd of April one year. I know more recently, they've been playing pre-season games earlier than that. It is very wet. I mean, I don't know whether it's going to be a different form of cricket, whether it's going to just kind of play baseball, because if it bounces, it's had it, and it really. It's just not making the batter. You're going to have people like Mark Wood is going to run in at 92 miles an hour, hit the pitch, and they're going to need to hope there's a crater in it because that's the only way they're going to get it out. I mean, it's horrific. And I know these grounds have got all the covers and the drying aids and everything else you need, but like that, or you can get, but it's not going to happen, is it? Let's face it.
I mean, look, Middlesex, we only start league on the 11th of May, so we've got time. But you guys up in the Midlands and the North, you start in a couple of weeks' time, don't you? I mean, you guys play 22 games a season. We play 18, so yeah.
Hard as nails, huge. No, that's what we are. It's up north. Hard as nails. Yeah, it's pretty hectic, isn't it? Let's be honest. Yeah, I mean, as Simon alluded to, I remember it might be 7, 8 years, maybe 10 years ago, some of the county championship lads were playing cricket in March, which at the time seemed bonkers. But at the minute, I mean, we've had a very, very wet winter, haven't we? Which obviously hasn't helped. Still parts of Notts on the way to Newark where we would go and get the train down to London, fields and fields and fields covered, submerged in water. I think New Road, Worcester's ground, is probably barely above water now. I saw photos of it last week where only the square, which is slightly raised, was visible. And look, maybe with global warming, this is something that we're going to have to get used to and we're going to have to face. I mean, I've said a number of times since I started playing, and we're all a similar kind of age. I reckon when I first started playing cricket at 13 as a senior, I remember it being really, really, really cold and wet at the start of the season, or just before the start of the season. But April, you could kind of get away with it. But I'm convinced the seasons, like the weather seasons, have changed by a month to this point, because now we generally get pretty good Septembers and even reasonable Octobers. And I feel like it's almost shifted by a month or 6 weeks from what it used to be when the three of us would have been growing up kind of, 30-ish years ago, 25, 30 years ago. I really do think the weather's changed by a month to 6 weeks.
You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. I suppose the poor guys that are going through preseason at the moment, I don't know if you guys have been following much of it, but, I've been following Middlesex's preseason and how they've had to manufacture the 2-day warm-up games that they're going in, where previously it was interesting. I spoke to Richard Johnson, who's the Middlesex coach, on Monday, and he said the preseason used to be 1 day in the field, which meant you got 6-7 hours on your feet, 20 overs under the belt just to get that workload up. Because of the weather preparation, they've had to basically go 60-30 and, get the guys off, and it's not as much workload. So the S&C coaches are a little bit worried because they're now thinking, well, hang on, how are we going to make sure that the bowlers are ready? I mean, the batsmen have been nicking off because the ball's been doing all sorts, so they haven't got the best preparation either. But have you guys noticed any standout sort of preseason games, any performances, anybody that's looking good? I know it's really early to even be calling or looking at this, but have you guys got anything as yet?
You've basically asked the two blokes who never pay attention to any county cricket whether they've been paying attention to pre-season county cricket fixtures. So thank you, Eugene. You've done us both up like absolute kippers.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's hard to tell, isn't it? Most of the guys that I have seen playing preseason cricket, like I follow some of the Notts games, and they've been out in Abu Dhabi playing, and the usual suspects have sort of performed well out there. Joe Clark got a few in one game, and then I think it's pretty much standard fare for out there. They were playing a T20 tournament, just what you want before.
Yeah, T20
in the Dust Bowl as preparation for cricket in March. But I mean,
well, talking of T20, it doesn't sound like there's much going on in the county season. There is a small T20 competition going on at the moment, of which
the smallest
Johnno is currently out. Are you actually out there for the IPL to do some interviewing on behalf of Slogging It, Johnno, or why are you out in India?
It's funny you say that, Eugene. I actually had some time today with Virat, which was incredibly insightful. And that is an interview that will go out probably just before next week's episode, which we're really excited to announce. Not Kohli. This is Virat Singh, who is one of the security guards at my hotel downstairs. But I did manage to get his views on the IPL. No, in all seriousness, I'm out here seeing Woodstock suppliers. So all of our soft gear and bags suppliers are based out here, as with the entire industry. And what's been really weird is they've been overjoyed to see me, which is, I mean, you two will know, is highly unusual for anybody to kind of have that kind of reaction to me. But they just say no one from England ever travels out here to actually see the factories and stuff. They're kind of always expected to come and see us in the UK, which I think is a very kind of UK stance to take, to be quite honest. But it's literally been amazing. So I flew from Heathrow on Sunday, flew into New Delhi, had a 3 or 4 hour layover, and then flew up further north. So I'm actually in Jalandhar at the minute in the Punjab region. A few things that I've noticed. The roads, fuck getting a courtesy car over here, because like I thought Sri Lanka was bad. It's an absolute fucking shit show, nightmare, clusterfuck, omni shambles. There are literally people that drive down the wrong side of the road because they just think that's the quickest way to get where they want to go. The horns aren't used in an aggressive way like they are at home in the UK. They're used more as a warning of, I'm here, just so you know I'm here, which is weird. They don't drive in lanes. They kind of drive They kind of straddle lanes, which is interesting. And people just walk across the roads. Dogs walk across the roads. There are cows walking across the roads. But it is the most. I've only been here 36 hours ish. I've had 2 great days of meetings with some suppliers, but it's just the most fascinating, like wonderful, vibrant place. So I don't know if you guys have. You must have heard of it's this thing called the Holi Festival. So HOLI, and it's the festival of color.
Yeah.
So where they throw the kind of powdered paint at each other. No, unfortunately, because that's a morning thing. I once I got here, I was still jet lagged, so I had to grab some sleep. And so missed the main bit of it. But just seeing that there's loads of people with just all different kind of coloured paint over them, and just people seem to have a great time. But what an amazing experience! The people are wonderful. Brilliant, brilliant people. And just learning so much about India and the economy, like the way their economy is tracking. Like in 30 years, they could, if they keep tracking on the same trajectory, become the biggest economy in the world. Like, the Indian economy is nuts in terms of growth and tech and they're into everything. But they're very, 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 very bright people, very humble people. But but on top of that, the food is like I enjoy a curry. Like Simon and I have got a brilliant curry house called the Virage around the corner from us where we live. But to eat Indian food in India, like I went for dinner with one supplier last night. There's 5 of us that went out, and he said, "Oh, Johnno, the pizza in here is absolutely to die for." I said, "I can, I can have pizza in Blidworth." I said, "I'm not going to come to India and eat pizza." I said, "Just you guys order what you order, and then just like I'd appreciate if you maybe tone down the spice levels a little bit, but compared to what so I can cope." But stuff's like spicy, but it's different spice. It's not just hot spice like it is at home, where it's just like it kind of just kicks you in the bollocks and then leaves you like clambering for milk for 15 minutes. It's like a depth of flavor. I can't really explain it, but it's been brilliant so far, and I can't believe it's taken me over 41 years to come at considering how much of a cricket badger I am, and now I've owned a cricket company for 14 and a bit years to make it out here. But yeah, certainly I'll be rushing back. It's absolutely brilliant.
I think Robbo and I were very surprised that the border control let you into India after all the comments that you've provided on the podcast. So
Yeah, but they let me in. But another couple of things about India. The first thing that hits you is there's obviously the smog and the kind of is well documented and stuff. But the smog, it's got like a smell of burning tires. Now you quite quickly get used to it, but I still had the smell of burning tires like whizzing around my head and all my senses and stuff. And I go through security to get my connecting flight, and I put my stuff through the security scanner and all that. And then this really angry faced customs agent comes over to me and says, "E-cigarettes." I went, "Yeah." He went, "Banned in India." I went, "You what?" Because I just automatically assumed if something's legal in the UK, it's definitely going to be legal in India, which is really
Fuck's
terrible.
sake, it's a good job you're not
looking
Dutch.
back on it. Yeah, exactly. Can imagine. What do you mean? Oh, my space cake. My space cake. That's my Dutch accent impression, by the way.
Try going on holiday to Thailand on that there if you're Dutch.
Yeah. But he said no, e-cigarettes are illegal. And I was thinking, hold on, you've got like low-lying smog that is definitely bad for people, but I can't walk around smoking my lemon and lime water vapor vape. So yeah, that put me in a bit of a bad mood. But as soon as I've got here and kind of got myself into the culture and started my meetings and stuff, it's just the most wonderful place. So I would highly recommend it to anybody.
Well, that's Johnno's thoughts on the IPL.
Yeah, no, I should talk about the IPL actually, shouldn't I? Because that was what
good
the question was.
segue there, Robbo. Well done. Woo!
Yeah, there is some cricket going on in India at the moment. I tonight watched, I think it was Gujarat Titans against the Chennai Super Kings. Super Kings came out on top, although I think Gujarat won the toss and decided to bowl, and people thought that was the right decision, but turns out not. I think CSK are now 2 from 2. They beat Kings 11 Punjab in their first game. And yeah, I wouldn't say really necessarily any big shocks yet in the tournament, but some good cricket. You know, it's been enjoyable to watch. Where I am is in the Punjab region, so Kings 11 is very much the biggest side where I am. But yeah, people just love it. Like, you know, you can. It's almost a blessing to be a cricket fan and come to India because you know that you've got something that you can talk to. People are going to be massively engaged and you know in a conversation with you, and there's a real shared level of love for something, which is fantastic. So, well, yeah, there's been some brilliant cricket played, hasn't there?
I'm Alex Rodriguez.
And I'm Jason Kelly.
From Bloomberg, this is The Deal. Each week, you'll hear us in conversation with business icons.
This show will explore deal making across sports, media, and entertainment.
That is a harsh lesson in business.
Sports is not as simple as bringing a bunch of big names together.
I didn't want to do another stomp you out speech.
It opened up so many more doors.
The show is called The Deal.
Listen to The Deal.
Listen to The Deal on Spotify.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Yeah, it has. It's been interesting because there's been a couple of law changes. Well, this super sub or the you know, they basically drop a bowler and get a bat and all the other way around. It's done my head in a little bit because I'm not really a big fan of it. You should pick your 11 and that's that. I mean, otherwise, why don't you just field with 12? I'm not a fan of this new policy that they brought in. But yeah, the cricket's been good. RCB have finally won a game. I was a little bit worried after they lost their first game. I managed to catch them when they played against the Punjab side, and Virat Kohli scored his 77 and an unbelievable finish from DK. He came in. I didn't think they had a hope in hell.
How good is DK? Like, I mean, you know, he's kind of he's moved seamlessly into broadcasting, and obviously comes across, and you know, he's doing brilliantly. He's also always brilliantly dressed, good looking. You know, probably up there with Pat Cummins in the good looking 11. To be quite honest, impeccably dressed, but what a phenomenal batter as well. Incredible things.
Is DK the one that said that on commentary that cricket bats are like your next door neighbor's wife?
Yes, it is.
It's always better next door.
Yeah. So he's an absolute comedy genius legend as well. So yeah, what a guy.
Yeah.
Have you caught it?
I've seen bits of it. I'm quite impressed with it. The bit I saw of the game today, obviously, Chennai Super Kings bat first. 206, and it was like, right, okay, but I only tuned in during the Gujarats when they started, but I didn't realize they brought it back to 2 bounces and over, as opposed to there's none above head, like none above anything above head height is a wide or no ball or whatever. So they brought these two, and today, to be fair, I'm trying to find who it was.
While you're looking for that, did you know that you can review wides now?
Yeah,
you can.
I was like, what the hell is going on?
Which I don't mind that. Like, for me, it's more the ones that, like, when it clips a batter or something, it's not necessarily the wide decision in itself. I think they're going to get most of them right. We've all seen whether it's, I mean, it makes you start, like, if one goes for 4 off a spinner, slides down the leg side or whatever, or a batter's going to start reviewing it from leg buys to runs and all this kind of thing. And like a bit.
Look, I will say this: they are making the decisions really quickly, so it's not like it's holding the game up. It's quick.
I think it was Deepak Deepak Chahar today, and he ran in and he bowled an absolute snorter of a bouncer that filled the bloke in. And then next ball, he's bowled it was old school bowling. It was like what you used to see in Test cricket, where the bowler would rough a batter up and then bowled a length ball, and the guy's just nowhere near it. Absolutely hanging on the back dog, nowhere near it. Goes to try and slog it, chips it straight up in the air. And it's okay. So at least they're giving. The thing I do quite like about the IPL is they realise it's a contest. Whereas some of the other leagues, like we've seen what Australia did when, it wouldn't surprise me if they introduced a super over and a bowler's got a ball that underarm or something, just to take it completely away from bowlers. But I like the way that the IPL this year have made it, or introduced certain things that have made it a contest, so that a quick bowler has got a bouncer in his armoury, and if he gets it slightly wrong, it's not going to be flat into a no ball or whatever. But yeah, the bits of cricket I've seen has been good cricket. Like you look at the chase score today, the average score must be 180. Most of it's been around 170. There's been 200s. Most games have been within 3 wickets and about 5-6 runs. So other than that one today, when it was 206 played 140, and they just did him in the first.
They just got blown away, didn't they?
They just did him in the first 5 overs of the chase with good bowling. But yeah, so yeah. Hopefully, like I say, I'm not sure I like this impact player. I see why they're doing it from an entertainment point of view. It's so you get your best guys doing what they're best at. But yeah, there's something to me. Part of cricket for me should be balancing your team, and that's part of the ins and outs of it. Whereas with this, they just pick 12 and go, right, okay, we're going to have 8 batters and 7 batters, an all-rounder and 4 bowlers, and then we know it's going to be a piece of piss.
Before we move on to your game, I just want to give a big shout out to the old boy of the IPL in MS Dhoni. Yeah. The catch he took today was an absolute snorter. At 42 years old, diving to the right, it was an unbelievable grab.
Are you saying that you couldn't do that, Eugene?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
When people say dive, it was more of a someone blew his feet up, didn't they? Like it was as if someone had got a small grenade in the soles of his shoes and went waiting with a button, they just went dunk, because his feet seemed to go up. Like he didn't kind of, his hands went laterally, and he's always seemed to be very good at getting 2 hands to the ball. That's always been a plus part for him for me. But it was very much it wasn't an MS Dhoni from 5 or 6 years ago asking first slip to go wider because he's backing himself to shuffle his feet and get across. It was very much a shit, I've got to go here.
It was good for the camera. I will say that.
Yeah.
It was good for the camera.
Bollywood.
I've always been a big Dhoni fan. But the greatest thing about Dhoni, I mean, other than the fact he's still playing, he's given up the captaincy to Gaikwad, hasn't he? But he's obviously still running the show. Like, it's very much just a case of, right, young man, you can go out and toss the coin. I'll still kind of tell you what needs to be done. But the fact that the locks are back, like he's got his long hair back, which is iconic Dhoni. Like everybody was devastated when he cut his hair off. But what he seems to have lost, he's not found another pair of GHD straighteners yet. Because you remember the old kind of really straight long hair that he had. It's a bit wavy now, but that's the only thing that we need for Dhoni before he retires, is to get the old GHDs back on that bad boy and see how far between his shoulder blades he can get it.
Beautiful. Right, Simon, what have you got for us this week in terms of Stupid Simon's Stupid Game?
Well, I was thinking, given it's the IPL, and I'm a bowler.
How are you going to get Gary into the IPL? That's my first question.
Who has coached in the no? That was nearly on there. Don't worry, Eugene and the avid Gary Kirsten fans. He will be back. I've got a list of various different things that I'm thinking of. But given it's the IPL, given that we've seen some tight games, last over, opposition need 10.
Yeah.
You've got to start, super sub, or release Jasprit Bumrah, Lasith Malinga, or Gary Kirsten? No, Mitchell Stark.
Well,
So-
first of all, if Gary Kirsten was throwing the ball, then the batters are being complete fucking disarray because they would have no idea what was coming round.
I was also going to say Gary Kirsten is on strike, and they need 10 to win.
In which case, any of them. Have any of the bowlers in any order because they're not getting anywhere near. Right. Do you want to go first, or shall I go first?
Yep.
Right. So I've got what? Bumrah, Malinga, and Stark. Stark's nowhere to be seen. I don't think he comes into the picture here. I think you go. Well, okay. So obviously, last week when we were talking about batsmen, it was one getting donged on the head. What would the super sort if they just did a hammy or something during a run up?
I mean, there's none of this. Someone else has bowled 4 overs already. There's none of that. It's just one super over. Opposition. You've already got 10. 9. Sorry. Pick your ball.
9. Yeah. Okay. And for me, it's Malinga, Bumrah, Stark.
So you're starting Malinga, super subbing Bumrah, releasing Stark. Okay.
Stark's upstairs having the rest of his face put back on.
I am releasing Malinga. So he's in the change room. He's got nothing. He's gone.
Good.
No interest in Malinga at all. I'm benching Bumrah and I'm going Stark.
Can we fire Eugene from the podcast?
No,
and just employ him to edit it.
I'll be honest. The reason is, and I was going to say this caveat before. There's a couple of options. None of you have asked me if it's a left or a right-hander on strike, which I'm a little bit surprised by, because that makes a difference for me in this. And also, it depends is it the new 2 bouncer rule? Because if it is, I'm going with huge. Because I don't think Malinga had that as an option. So, but if it's not, and you've got a run in and bowl full, which you used to have to do in the IPL all the time anyway, then Malinga's options are better than Stark's. So, but I'm going modern IPL rules. So I'm starting Bumrah, I'm super subbing Stark, and I'm dropping Malinga.
So very close to what I selected there. Just a small change. I get it.
So my internet basically dropped out for a load of what Simon was saying. But the bit that I got at first was that what he basically explained was he didn't explain the rules to us, and then he came up with the 2 different bits and rules for himself.
Your captains, it's your job's to find out the rules. If you don't know them, that's not my fault.
I was going on today's laws, right? So I just, I went with 2 bouncers. I knew Malinga doesn't bowl a bouncer. I'm down your train of thought there, Simon. More importantly, what do our listeners think? Does anybody back Johnno? Does anybody back Robbo? Or is everyone still backing me and Gary Kirsten?
I think to be fair, you're not minding whatever order anyone picks, are you? If you're needing 10 off a last over and you've got any one of them through, you go in. Right.
You'd be reasonably happy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd really like to do that question next week on which batsmen are going to do that for you?
Right, but one of us has got to pick the bowler. And that's the thing. Like it's so much. This is where I think the IPL is very, very good, because if you've got a left-hander, if 2 left-handers are in, for example, 10 to win. I personally think you're probably going Stark and Malinga as your 2 sort of first choice options, because Stark's going to tail it into the left-hander, and Malinga's got so much more variation. Bumrah hasn't really got. Well, he has got variations, but in terms of at that level we're talking about, it's probably
I've seen Stark clean up David Miller before, though, in the last over of a game.
Yeah, and he's also got the round the wicket option to tail it the other way. Granted, yeah. I'm not saying he's going to struggle, but for me, in that with the new laws that they're playing in the IPL, if I've got a left-hander on and I've got Stark can run in and tail it in and also hit you in the head. The only problem thing you might say is Stark's not got the same caliber of slower ball.
Yeah, true.
Bumrah's slower ball earlier this week that he got a wicket with was unbelievable. I mean, that bloke's got skills.
Well,
I also
David Miller didn't he?
I don't think any of them are crap, are they? Like we're not talking about picking like who's going to bowl Jasprit Bumrah, Mitchell Stark, and Chris Martin, or like Jasprit Bumrah, Lasith Malinga, and me. Like it's not.
Yeah. I'm also disappointed, Simon, that you know that it's 1:30 in the morning here, and you've relied on me to actually do thinking, about new rules and old rules and all that other stuff. You've basically bent me over a barrel here and smoked me on the arse with a banjo.
Does that make a difference from every other week?
That's very nice of you, Eugene. Thank you so much for your input. Yeah.
Cool. Right, guys, let's finish it there. Johnno, what have you got planned for the next couple of days?
More meetings. When I come back, more Kingfisher, more amazing food. No, I think, look, there's been some really, really, really interesting conversations about the industry globally that have come out of the conversations that I've had already. And when I've had time to digest that, I think it's important that, one of the things that we are trying to do at Woodstock is, look at how we can be thought leaders in the industry, but also kind of re-educate consumers about what the cricket industry looks like. And there's huge amounts of learnings that I've had this week from guys who are big players in the industry globally. And when I've had time to kind of start digesting that information, I think it's only right that we start to, we would be duty bound to kind of try and help those people that listen to the podcast kind of start to understand that and to be the first people to kind of start changing their views. So, but yeah, look, I've had a great couple of days. Looking forward to another great couple of days, and then back to the cold, and then catching up with you two beauts for some golf on the 10th. So very excited about that.
Absolutely. We've got for those listeners that are involved, we've got a small sweepstake going on as to how long it takes Johnno to get Delhi Belly. Make sure that he's pissing out of his asshole. But I'm sure that won't be very long. Robbo, stay dry and don't drown up in the Midlands.
Oh. Well, is he sitting in my toilet bowl? Told him stay dry. He's got a big umbrella.
And we'll finish with that tonight. I'll speak to you later, boys.
Take care.
Love you, bye.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.